Whoops. Good evening. I'd like to call this second meeting of February, meeting of the Daviess County Fiscal Court to order. And Commissioner Conder, if you'd lead us in the prayer and then the pledge.
Thank you, Judge. In this season of Lent, where we are sometimes, as we're young and now growing old, people would make a little bit of jest about what Lent was all about, even to the point of saying, I want to give up watermelon. Today, though, there are words that have been provided that I extend to each one of you and our viewing audience of what we should fast from. Dear Lord, help us to fast from hurting words and say kind words. Fast from sadness and be filled with gratitude. Fast from anger and be filled with patience. Fast from pessimism and be filled with hope. Fast from worries and have trust in God. Fast from complaints and contemplate simplicity. Fast from pressures and be prayerful. Fast from bitterness and fill your hearts with joy. Fast from selfishness and be compassionate to each other. Fast from grudges and be reconciled. Fast from words and be silent as you listen. Listen not only to each other, but God's heart and will, that we are kind, that we are respectful, regardless of the position you take or what you hold in life. With this and the blessings to this court and all of God's people, regardless of how you were born and who you know, I ask each of us to pray for them. Amen. Amen. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a moment. I want to welcome all of you, and I want to extend a special welcome to one of our staff who joins us for the first time this evening, Ms. Candace Sturgeon. She's our staff accountant, and she will be addressing our bid items. So, welcome. Brooke.
1, consideration for presentation. A, Treasurer's Report for January 2024.
Mr. Johnson.
As of January 31 of 24, total cash balance is $75,067,169 for all funds. General fund balance is $37,999,991, minus operating reserve and restricted funds. Cash for general fund operations is $29,226,412. All variances within the Treasurer's Report are normal, expected, and explainable, and all departmental activities within expected ranges to date. I have nothing else to report.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for Mr. Johnson?
B, Executive Order Number 03, 2024, Wet Dry Special Election.
I think Miss Leslie McCarty's with us. If you'd come up. So, are you speaking to this, or are you speaking to it, or you want me to just read it?
I can.
Whatever you want to do.
So I'll just explain to the audience what the way this works. Good evening, Sarah. The way this works, we have a wet dry petition has been presented to our county clerk. So I'm going to just read it, and the way I'm supposed to, judge executive, I'm required to issue an executive order to get this item on the ballot, and then I'll present it to Leslie. So I'll just read this. Where Executive Order Number 03, 2024, Wet Dry Special Election. Whereas the Daviess County clerk presented to the county judge executive a petition signed by sufficient registered voters requesting an election be conducted pursuant to the provisions of KRS Chapter 242 in the Daviess County G103 Yellington Precinct. And whereas the petition is for an election on the following question: are you in favor of the sale of alcoholic beverages in Precinct G103, Yellington of Daviess County, Kentucky? And whereas, having reviewed the aforementioned petition and provisions of KRS 242.020 and KRS 242.030, I hereby authorize and direct the county clerk to place on the May 21, 2024 primary election ballot the special option election for the Daviess County G103 Yellington Precinct for the purposes set forth in the petition pursuant to KRS Chapter 242, signed by myself on 2/20/24.
Thank you very much.
Two, consideration for approval. A, minutes of the February 6, 2024 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion, a second. We've all had the minutes to review for some time. Do any of you have any corrections, additions, or deletions?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We've got a motion, a second. We've had the claims in front of us for some time. Are there any questions for the treasurer?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
C, statement of affiliation for Daviess County Search and Rescue.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge, this is an annual affiliation agreement between Daviess County and Daviess County Search and Rescue. This document details the responsibilities of each party as well as the order of operations and points of contact for events and deployment. Legally, EMA Management and myself have reviewed it. No responsibilities have changed from prior years, and I see no issues.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Are there any of our search and rescue folks here this evening? I would like to just say a thank you to all of our volunteers for their dedication, for all the hours they spend training, and for their willingness to serve our community. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
D, Judge Executive's annual incentive payment for calendar year 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And I will be abstaining from this vote. Jordan, Mr. Johnson.
For certain elected officials, upon completion of 40 hours of training per KRS 64.5275, Section 6, Fiscal Court is required to pay the incentive payment directed by a letter from the Department for Local Government. Attached is the letter for Judge Executive Castlin. Although this payment is required, it must still be reviewed and approved by Fiscal Court. I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And let the record reflect that I abstained.
Yes. E, memorandum of agreement between Commonwealth of Kentucky, Office of the Governor, Department for Local Government, Office of State Grants, and Daviess County Fiscal Court for jail arraignment equipment, Phase 2.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Judge, this is the resultant memorandum of agreement from the grant application that was approved in Fiscal Court Session 125 of 24 via Resolution 03-2024. This grant is to cover additional equipment, software, and related expenses for the jail video arraignment equipment project for the detention center in the amount of $44,018. Jailer Maglinger, legal, and myself have reviewed it. It is in order, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
F, request for military aerial support for Touch a Truck event.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Gordon Rowe.
All right, good evening. Jordan Rowe, Director of Parks and Public Information. We are hosting a new event at Panther Creek Park. This will be Saturday, April 20th from 11 to 2. called Touch a Truck. And we're going to have vehicles and equipment of all shapes and sizes for kids to see and even sit in. We have about 24 different agencies and businesses that are going to participate, first responders, public utilities, our road department, landfill, and so forth. We'll have about 5 different food vendors, inflatables, a petting zoo. It's going to be a really nice event. Before you, though, is a request for military aerial support. This will be with the Kentucky Air National Guard out of Frankfort. They are requesting to bring up to 2 Black Hawk helicopters for this event. The landing zone will be in the large field as you approach the park on Wainbridge Road, kind of across from the Kegel shelter. So again, this is just a formal request for their support, and there's a hold harmless agreement, and be glad to answer any questions, but would request your approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Any questions from the audience? I just want to say, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, I'm used to saying that, Mr.
That's okay.
Rowe. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for your leadership on the parks and for this event. I think it's going to wind up being a great event. I hope we have perfect weather for it.
I hope so too. We got our fingers crossed.
Yes,
So
sir.
thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
G, Kentucky Pride Fund composting grant application.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion, second. Mr. Smith?
Yes. So this is an annual grant that we've been applying for now for probably 6 or 7 years. This is for a Kentucky Pride Fund composting grant to cover the expense of a compact wheel loader for our composting program. This is a piece of equipment that helps take the finished product of compost and load it into our screen. And the current one is getting on up in age and is no longer reliable. And when you need to load it and screen it, you need to load it and screen it. So this grant request is for about $80,000, which is the cost of the machine. We are going to have to do a $20,000 match, but it's going to be in kind as far as expanding the compost pad itself, so the county won't be out any cash.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Smith?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
H, Kentucky Pride Fund Household Hazardous Waste Management Grant Application.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion, second. Mr. Smith?
This is part of the same Kentucky Pride Fund. I will note that the funding for this comes from the $1.75 tax that we have to put on of every ton that comes into our landfill. So it goes into a state fund, and then they dole it out in grants. This is for our Household Hazardous Waste Day. Again, this is a project that we started doing in the last 5 to 10 years. We call it Toxaway Day. It's where county residents and county residents only can bring their unwanted household hazardous waste. The grant is for $30,000, and we do have to do an in-kind or cash match. This one is an extremely popular one, and we will continue to ask, like the other one, the other Pride grant, if we don't receive the grant, we won't do the program. We won't be out the money. This one also is, there's no guarantee of how much the program will cost. We're asking for a maximum of $30,000. I think last year we only needed $25,000.
Any questions for Mr. Smith?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Contract Modification for FEMA DR 4540 Hazard Mitigation Grant Program.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Judge, Kentucky Emergency Management is asking that all counties with projects funded through this agreement to approve and sign this contract modification, which only extends the contract's end date. This MOA is simply a pool of funds available for projects eligible for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. GRAD is working to close out the only project we have currently under this MOA, which is our generator for the Emergency Operations Center at the Schertzinger facility. This modification is necessary to finalize our project and be able to pursue additional HMPG eligible projects through these funds. Legal and myself have reviewed it. We see no issues, and I would recommend approval.
Okay, just for anybody that might have seen these numbers on our website or anywhere else, speak to the 14 million on there, that we're not getting the 14 million.
No, that is the total amount of funds available to all counties. This MOA is an agreement with all 120 counties.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
J, 2024 Kentucky Waste Tire Management Grant Program.
I'll make a
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
And a motion and a second. Mr. Smith.
Yes. So we are very excited. People have been asking for the last couple of years is when we would have another tire amnesty day, and we knew the state works on an every 3-year basis, and we finally got to our year. So this agreement is is for the Waste Tire Management Program that's put on by the State of Kentucky Division of Waste Management. We've held this program 7 times since 1990. Since 2012, the state has done it on an every 3-year basis. We are returning back to the State Highway Garage, which is the default location for these programs. 3 years ago, we did have to have it off-site because the state at that time in 2021 was operating under COVID rules that did not allow the public at their State Highway Garage. The benefits of the Highway Garage is that it is a fully concrete facility, and it's actually, the unloading area is further away from Fairview Drive than the unloading area we used at the fairgrounds was from Highway 54. So there's slightly less opportunity for traffic to back up to the street. I will note that this agreement doesn't require any money by the county. The state pays all the fees. We are supposed to advertise, and we do provide labor.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
K, Knoxville Playground Association, LLC, funding request.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
The Knoxville Playground Association is remodeling the concession stand building at the Knoxville Ball Field and has requested that Fiscal Court consider funding the construction of a handicap ramp and public walkway from the lower-level ball diamond to the upper-level ball diamond. The request, estimate, and rendering are presented in your binders, and the funding request is in the amount of $12,000. I see no issues.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
L, award bid number 2324-43, 2 new fifth wheel road tractors for the transfer station.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon.
Yes, Judge, we received 5 bids and recommend award to the best evaluated bid submitted by Vomac Truck Sales and Service for 2 new fifth-wheel road tractors in the net amount of $312,390. These units are budgeted replacements of aging units currently in inventory, one of which will be used for trade-in consideration in this bid. Vomac Truck Sales and Service is a known vendor. Vomac did submit a second bid that is $300 lower than the recommendation. However, those units would not arrive until mid-January of 2025, whereas the recommended units will arrive in August of 2024. There were minor exceptions to the specifications, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
M, award bid number 2324-44, Horse Fork Creek Park Handrail Project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon.
We received 3 bids and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid submitted by On Time Fab, Inc. in the amount of $13,000. The Daviess County Road Department has been assisting the Parks Department in updating some aging infrastructure, including ramps at Horse Fork Creek Park. This budgeted project ensures the recently constructed ramp is ADA compliant. On Time Fab is a known vendor. There were no exceptions to the specifications, and I recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
N, award RFQ number 2324-51, signpost and anchor sleeves for the road department.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon.
Yes, we received 3 quotes and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated quote submitted by Eastern Metal Signs and Safety for signposts and anchor sleeves in the amount of $13,993.50. This is a budgeted restock of sign shop inventory. Eastern Metal Signs and Safety is a known vendor. There were no exceptions to the specification, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Sturgeon?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
O, award RFQ number 2324-52, disc golf course signage for the parks.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon.
We received 3 quotes and recommend award to the best evaluated quote submitted by the HBC Group for disc golf course signage at Yellow Creek and Panther Creek Parks in the amount of $14,760. This is an unbudgeted replacement of aging and damaged disc golf signage across the park system, as well as additional signage for 9 new baskets at Yellow Creek Park. You will note the lowest quote is not being recommended. However, the HBC Group is a known vendor whose quotes includes site visits prior to design and installation, unlike the lower quotes. Additionally, park staff were very impressed by the design component offered by the HBC Group. There were no exceptions to the specification, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none. Yes, sir.
My name's Dutch Napier. I'm involved with this project, and I just kind of want to give y'all a quick update. We want to say thank you from the Disc Golf Club, Daviess County Disc Golf Association, about approving this. It's making our parks look better, and it's making our courses more appealing for the people to come to bigger tournaments and things like that in the area. So thank you.
Very good. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
P, award RFP number 02-2324, payroll processing, timekeeping, and human resource information system.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge. From the 4 proposals received, we are recommending award to Paylocity in the annual amount of $39,948.04. This request for proposal is for a comprehensive system to replace our current time clock, payroll processing, required quarterly and annual employee payroll tax filing and reporting, employee data management, disciplinary management training, and other human resources-related systems that are all currently separate across multiple platforms. We currently spend approximately $28,000 annually for these services, meaning that once existing services are ultimately replaced, we anticipate the net impact of fiscal court to be approximately $13,000 per year. You will note we are not recommending the low proposal, which is due to the recommended proposer's impressive demonstration and implementation plan, municipal references, and additional modules available. We believe this justifies the $6,000 annual differential in price. There were no exceptions to our specifications, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Q, award RFP number 03-2324, food services for the detention center.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
From the 3 proposals received, we are recommending award to the lowest and best evaluated proposal submitted by Kelwell Food Management for the presented rate schedule. I have provided estimated annual costs for each population range, highlighting the highest potential cost, which is the range that meets the detention center's capacity. Typically, we are invoiced in the 600 to 649 population range, so for option 1 with Kelwell, we could anticipate spending $876,188.18 per year on average. Kelwell is our current vendor, and our contract has reached its term limit, which is what is triggering this competitive process to secure a new agreement. Our current average rate of $1.0897 per meal is increasing to an average rate of $1.2813 per meal. The jailer and his management staff believe this increase to be reasonable and in agreement with what other detention centers are seeing. Legal, Jailer Maglinger, and myself have reviewed the proposal. There were no exceptions to our specifications, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
R, hire Ryan Trunnell as firefighter effective February 19th of 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to welcome Mr. Trennell to our paid volunteer firefighting group. Also thank him for his years of service. I think he's currently the chief, is that right?
Chief at Utica.
At the Utica Volunteer Fire Department. So he's doing double duty, and I appreciate his service to our community. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
S, appoint Russ Duty, Cheryl Currigan Spalding, served 1 term, to the Ethics Board, a 3-year term, effective March 2nd of 2024 through March 1st of 2027.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Mr. Duty for agreeing to serve our community in this capacity. I also want to thank Ms. Cheryl Currigan Spalding for her service in the past. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
T, appoint Vernon Wathen, Teresa Borman, served partial term, to the Daviess County Property Maintenance Code Board of Appeals, 3-year term, effective March 1st of 2024 through February 28th of 2027.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Want to thank Teresa Borman for her service in the past to our community in this role. Also want to thank Vernon Wathen for agreeing to serve our community in this role. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
U, appoint John Bell, Wally Taylor, served 3 terms, to the Daviess County Property Maintenance Code Board of Appeals, 3-year term, effective March 1st of 2024 through February 28th of 2027.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Want to thank Wally Taylor for his service to our community on this board. Also want to thank John Bell for agreeing to serve our community in this role. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. There is none that I am aware of. B, public comments.
Public comments. This is a part of the meeting where we invite people that want to speak to come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. I know a number of you are probably here to speak on the same topic. I think, Mr. Tapp, you have something different, so I might let you go first if you want to. And just while he's getting ready, those who are here as a group, I would ask that just one person speak from each side if there's opposing sides, otherwise just one person. Mr. Tapp.
Hey, my name is Darren Tapp. I'm the chair of the Daviess County Republicans, and we wanted to announce that we are having on April the 11th, Rand Paul, as long as he's not filibustering up in D.C., will be coming down to be our keynote speaker at Lincoln Dinner. That's April the 11th, 6 o'clock at the National Guard Armory. And yeah, so also something else I wanted to announce. We are having our 2nd annual Nikki and Earl Hayden Memorial Race this year, June the 1st. It's a fundraiser for the Nikki Hayden Memorial Foundation. That's June the 1st at Windy Hollow Speedway. So
What time is that?
It's going to basically be an all-day event. Last year we had people from literally all over the country compete. We had people from Australia and Europe. It was a really neat show out at the fairgrounds.
And you say all day, starting what, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, about 8 o'clock
o'clock
in the mornings when practice will start.
Okay.
And the actual races after qualifying and everything will begin about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And that's at Windy Hollow Speedway again. And one final thing before I depart, I want to ask our commissioners and our Judge Executive Charlie to take a look at Kenton County in northern Kentucky and a bold move they just made to open up our elections basically to the public, to give the public transparency in their elections to allow them to examine the machines and the ballots. I think it's a brilliant move, and we've lost a lot of faith in our election system, and I think that's a great move into getting faith back into the system. If there's nothing to hide, why are they hiding it? And that's all I got. Thank you.
I thought you had one other thing you texted.
No, actually, I'm not going to announce that tonight.
Okay.
Changed
All right.
my mind on that.
All righty.
Thank
you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Again, anyone that wants to speak from your group?
Good evening. My name is Mary Ann Steele. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Coalition for an Inclusive Davis County. Progress 1817. For those unfamiliar with this phrase, it's written on Owensboro's flag. Today, Regression 2024 sounds like a more appropriate slogan. Between 1990 and 2020, the population of Davis County grew by 18.5%. while the population of the United States grew by 31.7%. During that same period, the population of Warren County, Kentucky grew 73%. If we're looking for progress, it doesn't seem to be here in Davis County. The ongoing saga between our public library and the Davis County Citizens for Decency has made local, state, and regional news. The fiscal court should ask itself these questions. Does a community stuck in the past look attractive to companies scouting locations for new production facilities or headquarters? Does a community embroiled in a book audit look attractive to the music lovers, barbecue fans, and sports tournament organizers who bring tax and tourism dollars to our community? Children and young adults should have access to materials within our public library that represents who they are, regardless of religion, race, gender, sexual orientation, whether they come from a loving home or an abusive one, whether they come from wealth or poverty, whether they come from a long line of Davis Countyans or are immigrants pursuing the American dream. Between 1909 and 1912, one man, Mayor Stinson Lambert, sabotaged the opening of our library by continually vetoing the funding for its maintenance. He cited reasons as personal and ridiculous as it being ugly, being poorly located, and a center for spreading disease from river divers. History may not be repeating itself, but it's certainly starting to rhyme. During an October 6, 2022 Judge Executive Candidate Forum, Charlie Caslen stated that he would not appoint to the library board a, quote, activist candidate that would bring him a list of book bans. However, by failing to bring vote on either of the two highly qualified board candidates presented to him, he is, in fact, siding with activists. The activists who have wasted $35,000 of taxpayer money on a book audit. The activists who have bullied library employees and board members. The activists who have spread bigotry and division within our community for a year. Mr. Caslen, history has not been kind to the memory of Mayor Lambert. You should ask yourself how history will remember you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for, I guess, the other side? Seeing no one, is there anyone wishes to speak to any other item that has not been addressed this evening in the open public comments or on the, yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Mike Hamlet. I've been a taxpayer of Davis County over 40 years. I don't come prepared to make any formal speech or anything. I'm just going to speak from my heart. And I want to thank you all for being diligent about our county affairs and what's going on. And I also want to remind everyone, I was up here, I don't know, back last year, about the fragility of digital content stored and all these things. The AT&T outage highlighted it today. And all these ordinances and codes that we have that are changing constantly, supposed to be written down, need to be in a hard copy because these gentlemen need to enforce these. And if something was to happen, God forbid, that technology crashed, we need to be able to survive as a society. And y'all are our front line, and I think y'all are doing a wonderful job, and I want to thank you from my heart.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to any of the topics that has not been addressed by any of in the open public comments?
Hello, my name is DeMarcus Curry. I'm the pastor of Asbury United Methodist Church, 2711 Cravens Avenue, and also a member of the Leadership Owensboro Class of 2024. I just want to present to the county the Teen Week that is coming up in March at the library. On Tuesday, March 12th, I'll be doing the financial workshop for teens with Fifth Third Bank. They will be there to conduct financial literacy for the teenagers to help them be prepared better in life. And then on Wednesday, the 13th of March, we'll be doing a resume interview workshop to get them prepared as far as going into the workforce. And then on Thursday, the 14th of March, will be the actual teen job fair, inviting companies to come and do open interviews for the teens, get them hired, prepared for the spring and summer months. And then on Friday, with the Neblet Center, I will be doing a Stop the BS, the bullying and suicide for the young people. Bullying has been a key issue in the community lately, and there are ways to handle that. I did this event back in 2019, and what I did was I invited the students to be the speakers instead of having motivational speakers. And the youth, hearing those other youth speaking about their personal experiences, opened up the floor for them to tell their stories as well. So, and again, that'll be on Friday, the 15th at the Neblet Center from 5 to 7. And I do thank the city of Owensboro for spreading the word for the events for that whole teen week. I just asked the county officials to do the same thing as well, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Again, is there anyone wishes to speak to any issue that's not been addressed in open public comments or in the agenda?
Good afternoon. My name is Andy Gamblin. I live at 2920 Yale Place, apartment 1705. I just want to say thank you all for doing a good job, and I applaud y'all tremendously. And I've had the privilege of doing a ride-along with the Sheriff's Department, and I tell you, hey, they are great. They do a great job, and we need to be praying for them because they have a lot on their plate. They have a big area to cover, and I want to thank the Lord for all of y'all. I mean that. And then also, of course, I know, and I've even had a privilege of doing the ride-along even with our city. And I know they've had a bad rap, but hey, our city police officers, they do a great job too. And I just want to thank all of our law enforcement. Y'all do a great job. We need to pray for them, pray for y'all, because y'all got a lot on your plate. And just always stand for the Bible.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to anything that's not been addressed in the open public comments or on the agenda? Okay. Ms. Brooke.
C, comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Marksberry.
I don't have anything tonight, Judge.
Okay, Commissioner Caslen.
Thank you, Judge. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's here tonight. Whenever you have a point of view that you want to get across to us, and whether we agree or not, I appreciate when our public comes out and speaks up for themselves or speaks up for one another, whatever your position is, and that you say it and actually, when you have opposing views, and that you hear what the other side says as well, and that's the only way we can actually, come to either a consensus on something or come to that point where you agree to disagree. So thank you for everybody being here and standing up for what you see is the right thing to do. Also, I want to different topic. You know, as West County Commissioner, that's where the landfill is, and I get a lot of people contact me about trash that's on the side of the roads there on the West County because the trucks that go and take the trash to those locations. So I want to first thank the Donahue family on the West End for they picked up a lot of trash last weekend. It was on social media and helped their area of the world to look a little bit better. Also to Jailer Maglinger for having all of his trustees and actually and his staff working so hard to get out and clean up a couple 1,000 pounds of trash over the last week there in the West End as well, doing a great job with that. And Judge Castle and I, thanks Judge, we've got something else going on with maybe getting a little more people involved, actually more of the community involved in helping to keep the trash cleaned up, because it's one of those things that, once it's there, if we don't pick it up, it's going to be there a long time. So it takes more than just the ones who have done it so far, and the community help and input's really going to help us to keep our community looking better and show the pride. We have pride in Daviess County watching out for each other as well, but we also want to show that pride in keeping our community clean and looking nice. So thank you, Judge.
Amen. Thank you for preaching to us.
Amen.
I want to give a round of applause to the Donahue family.
The Donahues, yes.
I do. Commissioner Conder.
Thank you, Judge. Just to follow up with a little bit about Commissioner Castle, there is a little bit of work that does go on at Fiscal Court. Commissioner Castle and I yesterday spent the entire day in Frankfurt visiting with our local representatives, leader Suzanne Miles, DJ Johnson, and Senator Boswell. We also had just a quick walk by with the governor. Me, in my vein of not necessarily knowing when to shut up, see, Commissioner Castling knows what I'm about to say. I actually took the governor's hand and said, Governor, just one time, remember, when you come and talk about economic development, say the words Owensboro and Daviess County. And he goes, you've told me that 5 times now. And I said, well, make it happen. Just make it happen. Walked away, Commissioner Castling goes, you don't quit, do you? I said, we should never quit to help our people in our community is what we should never do. We shouldn't do it. In that vein, there is one, I suppose, bill that this is a personal opinion I'm about to express here. We have had several issues that have come out of COVID, good, bad, and indifferent. But one of, I believe, the best things that came out of there was early voting. It, in my opinion, in my opinion, it is one of the best ways for individuals, whether you work or you have children or elderly, whatever the case may be, to be able to exercise one of the biggest rights we have as citizens of this great country that we're in. And to do anything differently than that, I believe is just a disservice to our citizens. And I made that point very clear to a certain state representative or senator. Now, thank you. So let's talk a little bit of another issue that occurred this week. We were talking about trash. We have in Daviess County a property maintenance individual. His name is Mike Hamilton, does a very good job. The city has also a property management individual, Joe Sublett. And many times they will go to houses and look at different issues that are going on with homes. And they will try their best to help, because sometimes there's just things happening in people's lives that can't take care of their homes, or whatever it might be. But when there are circumstances when you've done everything you can to help, and a citation is issued, that citation is important. It means you've got to show up in court, is what it means. So what I'm asking everyone to understand is take care of your houses, and maybe even take care of your neighbors if you can, because when our individuals of property maintenance show up at your door, it's serious. That's nothing to just scoff at and say, well, government's now on my back again. That's not what they're there for, okay? Last thing is tomorrow at Burns, I've been asked to help with the reality fair. Now, what is that? We're going to take a bunch of 8th graders. They're going to give them jobs, pretend jobs, and then they're going to have to pay their bills. House payment, utility payments, food, car, and then figure out whether or not they have enough money left to pay for a cell phone. Sounds kind of cool. So I will be there for about 4 hours, and we'll see how far 8th graders get in managing their money. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner Conder. Just so everybody knows, when I said thank you for preaching to us, I'm so passionate about the issue of trash in our community. And we have gotten a lot of complaints about trash, and people, a lot of times they focus on the roads, the route going out to the landfill. But I challenge you to drive any highway in Daviess County, and I would argue they're every one unsightly. I challenge you to drive the highways of Kentucky, the interstates and the parkways. I think they're an embarrassment, personally. And Commissioner Conder sent a text the other day, about a week or so ago, complaining about trash. And I sent him a picture, about 4 pictures of trash that I picked up around my block of my house. I made a pledge to myself during COVID. I pick up the trash just about, if not every week, every other week. I walk all the way around, and there's an alley behind me, so it's not even like a full city block. Most of the time, I will fill up a Kroger bag. I mean, there's that much trash. And I'm picking up, like I said, every week, every other week. The day that he said that was a Saturday. I sent him a picture of what I just picked up. I think I sent him a picture. The very next morning, I had 3 more pieces of trash in my driveway. And I'm not giving my address because I don't want people to start throwing all the trash. Hey, he'll pick it up. I'll just throw it out there. So anyway, that's why I said preach it, to Commissioner Casson, because it's an issue, and I don't understand. Because one day when my kids were little, the window was down, and it was back when we had vans, and I'm zooming down Frederick Street, and my youngest threw his sucker stick out the window. And I pretty much slammed on the brake, pulled over, and I just gave a sermon to him right there that all the kids were there. Don't ever throw another piece of trash out. And I didn't, given it was Frederick Street, we didn't get out and walk back and try to pick it up. I didn't want us to get run over. But I think they learned their lesson, and I would think they would tell you, yeah, we remember that day. Daddy was, they use a word to describe my voice when I talk that way. Anyway, going to get off that topic. Before I forget, our next meeting for anyone who wants to be here, normally we have them on Thursdays. Our next meeting is March the 5th at 5 p.m. I think that's a Tuesday. Also, I wanted to announce that Yellow Creek Park will have extended hours for March. Beginning Friday, March 1, Yellow Creek Park will be open daily from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The pickleball courts are equipped with lights that will operate on a timer and shut off automatically when the park closes. Panther Creek Park and Horse Fork Creek Park remain on winter hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. until the start of the summer park season on April the 1st. And you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Anyway, am I missing anything before I say we're done? Without further business, this meeting is adjourned.